I'm actually going to play that video on avoiding medical scams for you next. I would still appreciate it if you liked the video on my YouTube channel. Avoiding medical scams. DME fraud. DME encompasses wheelchairs, walkers, braces, and other devices prescribed by doctors to help patients deal with injuries or illness at home. Fraudsters take advantage of this industry by leveraging the personal information of unsuspecting patients to steal from Medicare. The way they do this is by contacting patients and tricking them into ordering DME by, for instance, telling them they're eligible for a free device. Medical identity theft is when scammers use your personal information to get treatments, prescriptions, medical devices, or other benefits under your name. A big problem here is that these fraudulent claims go on your medical record and can impact any real treatment you're receiving. Follow these tips to recognize and avoid both durable medical equipment, DME, fraud, and medical identity theft. If you get an unsolicited call or email asking for your Medicare number or health insurance plan in order to give you a free medical device or any other free product or service, it is most likely a scam. Do not be fooled by scare tactics, such as the claim by a DME provider that you need to order a device now because Medicare is running out of money. Scammers always try to pressure you to act immediately. Do not accept delivery of medical equipment unless you know it was ordered by your doctor. If you accept delivery, you could find yourself responsible for part or all the cost. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Do not give your Medicare or insurance number over the phone or in an email unless you initiated the communication. Share the information only with trusted healthcare providers. Make sure you shred outdated insurance forms, physician statements, prescription paperwork, and other documents containing your medical information before throwing them away. Do not answer questions from a caller who says they are conducting a health survey and need your Medicare or insurance number. Do not give your insurance information to a family member or friend, even if it's to help them get treatment. It will still be considered fraud. Protect yourself from these scams, and even more importantly, share this information with anyone in your circle who may be vulnerable to such tricks. Learn more from the FTC's consumer advice on medical identity theft, and be sure to read Grace Mage's comprehensive article on this topic. You'll find the information at the following link. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
All right, let's move on. We, of course, I know what you've all been waiting for. You've all come to listen to Chris Guld, and of course, and Jim from Geeks on Tour. In the introduction, of course, I often say well, nobody needs to introduce those two because everybody knows them. But you should be aware that Chris is a product expert in Google Photos. She actually is a platinum product expert, which means that she's sort of at the top of the list. And as a result of that, she recently they flew her to New York, and where she was presented at the Google headquarters with a special award this year. And maybe she'll tell us a little bit about that in her talk. But she, of course, has written a number of books on Google Photos. Google Photos is something I guess everybody uses. But the thing about Google Photos is there's been a lot of features added. Like, wow, it's so hard to keep up with all the new features. So I said to Chris, I said, would you please come on the show and please explain some of these new features? And she said she would be so glad to do that. And we are so glad that she is here. And we look forward to your comments over the next half hour, Chris. take it away.
I hope we can live up to your promotions there, Ron. Are they seeing?
Yep.
Okay. So this is Google Photos update and tips. I mean, I'm not going to show you everything that's changed or been updated because not all of them are fun. I like to show fun stuff.
All right.
And
Okay, we
Yeah.
want to go to that one. Yeah, so Tech for Seniors is the geeks' favorite Monday show. Just so everyone knows, I had to put that in. Okay, but we are geeks, also known as propeller heads, and we can prove it because we have these silly hats that we put on, and that's a lot of fun for us. Okay.
we are not Geek Squad. Geeks on Tour is just us. Nothing to
Right.
do with Geek Squad.
I will not fix or attempt to fix your computer.
Just in case there are people in the audience who don't know about Google Photos, I just need to say a couple of words so that you understand what's going on. It is, some people think that Google Photos means using Google to search the web for photos. No, Google Photos is a product by Google to privately store, organize, edit, and share your lifetime of photos. It stores your photos and videos in the cloud. That allows it to be usable on a computer or on an Android device or on an iPhone device. And the service is free, the apps are free, and you get 15 gigabytes of free storage. If you go beyond that, is $20 a year for 100 gigabytes. And what you do, you use Google Photos on your iPhone or your Android instead of the native photo app that came with it. It is a complete replacement. It does everything that those apps do. So that's just in case you don't know about Google Photos.
Okay, and as Ron said, Chris is a platinum level product expert for Google Photos. She wrote the book, Learn Google Photos, and you should probably buy that book if you don't have it already. Okay.
So one thing that really is quite new, and it's quite fun, so I'm happy to show this, is how you work with the photo grid in Google Photos. Now the grid, this is mobile only. You see a grid on the web version, but you don't have any control. On the phone, you can pinch and zoom to the desired size. You can use this little scroll button to go fast, and I will show you all of this. When it's in the smallest view, you will now see two new things. You'll see a date overlay on the top left, and you'll see these cool little best of month highlight reels. When you are in a medium view, you may also see a location in that overlay. And when you select photos using long press, and Ron, this is the thing that changed on Friday. We figured it out. Between the two of us, we figured out what the new thing was on Friday, is selecting photos. You get this pop-up menu. No big deal. All right, let me show you this. So this is my iPhone. No. This is my iPhone, and surprisingly, some of the new stuff is on iPhone first.
There we go.
I don't know why, but then this is what I'm talking about. That's Google Photos. That is Apple Photos. If you start using Google Photos, do not use Apple Photos anymore because you'll get confused. There's a lot to learn about using either of them. Learn one and stick to it. Google Photos. This is the grid. How do you get to the grid? If you're in Search or in Sharing or in Library, you get to the grid by tapping on Photos. So this is the grid, all of your photos. In my case, it's like 100,000 of them. You can put two fingers on the screen and increase the size until you're at one single photo. Then you can pinch. Now I'm in day view, pinch again, and I'm still in day view, but a little bit smaller. Pinch again, and I'm at the smallest, and this is month view. Let's say I wanted to find some pictures from 2016. As soon as you start scrolling, this little button, I call it the quick scroll button, appears. If you grab that, you can quickly go back to 2016. And notice how it's popping to the top of a month. If you, this is what's new, if you use this scroll button, wherever you let go, it will drop you off at the top of a month. Now, it doesn't do every month. I mean, so if I want to find something in 2016, notice there's December. I just barely go down and I'm in September. I barely go down again and I'm in May. That's why it's way cool. Once you start scrolling, you now have this date overlay in the top. So I can just scroll and know that I will not miss the August. I want to get to August. There we go. Okay, so that's a bit about the grid in general. Now, one other thing that's new, let's say I want to select a photo. When you're looking at the grid, you select a photo by long pressing. Long press, and notice that that photo is now selected and a menu has popped up. These are what you can do with that one photo. You can share it. You can add to an album, a movie, an animation, or an existing album. You can delete it. You can order photos from it. You can make it a favorite. You can move to archive, save to device, edit date and time, or edit location. So that's what's new as of last Friday. And that can be for multiple. So I'm going to tap the X at the top here to deselect that one. Now let's say I want all of these of Jim and his friend Tom, and I long press on one, then you can just scroll down, and I have now selected 33 photos. If I wanted to delete them all, the delete button has popped up at the bottom. Okay. So that is the photo grid. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will deal with them at the end of the meeting when we go to the Q&A section. Okay, but go ahead and put them in the chat now. And the next thing I want to show you is we have a little pre-recorded segment on. It's 6 minutes, and it's about the fancy editing tools that are available in Google Photos when you're looking at people's faces. So I call it portrait editing tools. Portrait editing tools. I'm going to use the iPhone to start with on this one. And this is fun. So I open Google Photos, and I have a couple pictures that I've marked as favorites. Yeah, so here's that one of Jim with the steak. Okay, here's a picture of Jim with the steak, and his face is kind of dark, isn't it? And it could just be more of a portrait. I tap the edit button, editing tools, and there's portrait right there. But notice this little, can you tell that that's a 1? It's a multicolored 1. And that means that this feature is only available to you if you are a Google One subscriber. What is Google One?
I didn't understand.
That is your storage. So if you are paying something, if you are not just getting by with the 15 gigabytes of free storage, you have to pay for it. That makes you a Google One subscriber. And then you get these extra editing tools. So portrait, I just tap it and notice that it kind of darkened the edges and it brightened inside a little bit. Let me just tap that off, back on. See how it turns blue when it's on? Off, on. Okay, but there's more. If you go over to adjustments, you now have portrait light. This is pretty cool. I tap on portrait light and I want to make it as bright as possible. So I'm going to move the slider all the way up to 100. And now you have this little circle. Say, well, where do you want to pretend that the source of light is coming from? You know, the left side of his face is already too bright. So let's move the light over to the right side of his face. Can you see what it did there? Yeah. If I just move this little circle over, you can see that the light on his face is changing. That's pretty cool. And done. And now here's one other thing to know about these cool editing features. If you use one of those, I call them premium editing features because you have to be paying Google something to be a Google One subscriber to be able to use these. Save copy. Notice that plain save is not an option. Something about these editing tools can't be done in this normal save layer. I sure hope they figure that out because I hate making a copy and I lose whatever description I had written on the original. So if you're going to use this, just realize that and do the edits first before you do things like adding descriptions. Then you can just delete the original. So save copy. But once again, wait, there's more. I'm going to go to the Samsung Android now, just because it works almost the same. Just one difference. On the iPhone, I had to choose filters as the first step. In the Android, adjustments. Let me find a different picture here. This picture I'm going to play with. And edit. And it's not under filters. In the Android, it's under tools. There's a whole other menu here called tools that gives me portrait light, blur, and color focus. Now, if you go to tools and you don't see those, it only shows up if you're looking at a photo that has faces in it. So it's not going to give you portrait tools unless you're looking at a picture that is a portrait. But watch this. Blur. Blur means blur the background, and it's at 25, but if I move it all the way up, look at that. So it completely blurs the background and really makes me and Gregorio stand out.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah, I like Gregorio. He managed a B&B in Sicily that we stayed at. Okay, so I'm done with that. And now, what if I really wanted to make the background go away? I could turn the background to black and white. That's what color focus means. Color focus, and it starts out at 0, so I still have to swipe the slider. So see what? We're still in perfect color, but the background is black and white. And if I want to keep that, I have to save copy. All right, so those are the special editing tools. One comment, one addition or correction. If you have a Pixel phone, you have those special editing tools, even if you are not a Google One member. So you still paid something to Google because a Pixel phone is a Google phone. You get those special editing features. And they are great. And this is just in Google Photos. No other software required. The next feature, Map View. Map View has been around a while, but I find that very few people use it or understand. So I just want to make sure that you know about this fabulous feature of Google Photos called Map View. You can, so all photos that have a location, You know, if you have photos that don't have any location information stored in them, then they won't show up on a map. But if they do, they show up on this map on mobile devices, either Apple or Android, and you get there with search. So let me show you this, and I think I'm going to use I'll use the Android this time, just to show you. Samsung, iPhone, as long as you're using Google Photos, this stuff works. I use Google Photos, not Gallery, you know. Google Photos. Now, this is the grid. Oh, and one thing I didn't, and I want to see the map. Actually, when Ron was talking earlier, that inspired me for another use of this map. We have met Ron in person. It's been a while. I don't know when it was. And I look for his picture in my faces, and I can't find it. I have not named him, and I have tons and tons of faces. I figured that's just going to take way too long to find his face in my people. But you know what? I know where we were when we saw him. I'll bet you I have a photo of him that is in Mesa. So let me show you how I get there. It has to do with searching. So you find the map on the search tab. And then it's this first tile here. It says your map. And the first thing I love to show is I have bragging rights for having been everywhere in the United States. Wherever you see those colors, it's called a heat map. That's where I have photos. And you can see we have photos, everywhere in the U.S. Let's zoom in on Mesa, Arizona, and see if I can find a picture of Ron. So I'll be around here somewhere. And notice how this works. The map is at the top, the photos are at the bottom. I can tap a place on the map and it shows me the photos there on the bottom. Or I can scroll through the pictures on the bottom and the dot up in the map changes. All right. Where are you in Mesa there? This looks promising. Because that's when we spoke at your...
Is that Silver Ridge?
Yeah. Now I found him just a minute ago. It was in 20... And notice the dates that go by, too. So we've been in Mesa several different times. Now I'm into 2017. Now I'm into a different part of Mesa. 2017. Now I found him just there. He is back in 2015. There's Ron, and I found him because I know where we took the picture. Now I can scroll up. I can find his face in the details of this photo and add a name.
Sort of.
Okay, well, Ron Brown. Close enough. Close enough. Now, the next time I want to find him, I can just search for Ron Brown, and it will show me all of those. And there's so much more you can do with, our photos from Italy. If I want to see a photo that was taken in Rome, I just go to Rome. I can see those photos. But I use it for all sorts of memory aids, like finding Ron in Mesa. Okay, back to the slides. Couple more slides, and I can go till 12:50. Is that right, Ron? Okay.
Yes, that's correct. You until 12. Yeah.
Okay, doing good. So locked folder. In my opinion, this is not a fun one. I don't like it. if you put photos into your locked folder in Google Photos, the only way you can then see them is if you have the unlock code or your fingerprint or your pattern or whatever to get into the phone. So this is for if you have really secret photos. But if you don't understand it, don't use it, because it removes your photos from the cloud. So they really are no longer in Google Photos. They're just on your phone in this locked folder, and they will get deleted if you have to reset your phone, if you have to uninstall and reinstall Google Photos. So there is this relatively new thing called lock folder. Don't use it unless you really understand it.
Because you might lose something.
You might lose your pictures, and it's really sad if people think that that's where to put their important pictures, and then they lose them. All right. And I think this is our last little tip, and there is a video on this one.
You want to play it?
Yeah. Okay. It's 2 minutes. Oh, we're...
I can do that.
Okay. Or I can do it live. Yeah. It's a 2-minute video. We should be good. So, combining people search, making filters. What I'm talking about is searching. So if you search, and I just say, I just want to see pictures of me, I tap on me. But what if I want to see pictures that have both me and Jim? You can click this little plus next to Jim's face. Now what if I want to see not just pictures that have me and Jim, but pictures that have me and Jim and beer?
That shouldn't be too hard.
No, this is true. Just me and Jim, you're going to get a lot with beer. That's what this little 3 lines over at the very far left is for additional filters. I could say, just show me pictures of me and Jim that are favorites. That's a cool one. So if I want to find a good picture of me and Jim, that's exactly what I would do. I would search for pictures that have me and Jim and that have been marked as favorites. But if I want to just have beer, I'm probably going to have to deselect favorites. There we go. And now there's beer. Now, I'm not sure how these words must appear because I've searched for them in the past. I'm not sure. I cannot type it in, but I can choose beer. And now I have pictures of me and Jim and beer. So where was that? That was under search. And so you start with the people, and then you have these special options up at the top.
Okay. Well, did you learn something? We have some questions for you. Okay, this multicolored one logo stands for A, first place, Google One, favorites, or the card game Uno?
Google One.
Google One, yes.
Okay. Whoops. To get back to the photo grid from any other screen in Google Photos, tap Photos, tap the Account button and Grid, or C, tap Library.
A, Photos.
Okay, true or false? When you use the quick scroll button to go through the years, it will always drop you off at the beginning of a month.
True, and that's really nice.
Yeah,
didn't always do that.
It's nice that it did that. Google Photos Map View is on what menu? A, Photos, B, Search, C, Library, or D, Sharing?
Search.
Search. Down at the bottom on mobile devices, either Android or iPhone, but mobile devices, the tabs at the bottom.
Okay.
That was it?
That was it. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we're Geeks on Tour. And it looks like we're on time.
Exactly on
Good
time.
job, Chris.
This is Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Today's talk on gadgets. This video was produced today with my new DJI Pocket 2 camera, starring Ron Brown, myself, and filmed by Steve Jordan with Ron's new DJI Pocket 2 camera. Now, the Jordans are our first company since the COVID restrictions have been relaxed. They are our in-laws, but we call them outlaws because they live in Williams Lake in northern British Columbia, where we often visit them to golf. Now, we'd like to make a statement saying that there were no animals hurt in making this video, but some alcohol was consumed. Many of you know that I've made a very popular video called Saving Your Life with Wearable Technology. This video is going to be called Saving Your Life with Wearable Air Conditioning. Now, for those of you who want more information about this device, you can go to our very famous Facebook page called Tech for Senior. You scroll down and you will see an article posted called The 11 Best Wearable Air Conditioners for 2021. There, all the units will be listed with the price and availability. Now, notable mention in this video are Bill James, Huey Popluck, and Bob Gostischa, who don't have one of these devices and are green with envy. In preparation for the Jordans' arrival, I had to cut the grass. And oh, I kept cool with my portable wearable air conditioner. Even watering the plants was made easy by the 3-speed fan. We had to take a trip to the New Tradition pub, which is 1 block from my house. This was to see if drinking beer would be better with this cool technology, and I can confirm it was. This was again confirmed at our traditional crab dinner that evening. This production was done by Back End Technology, Ron Brown, and Steve Jordan.